Hi, you're listening to my podcast, Colin in Conversation. I'm Colin Etchers. I'm a comedian, writer, and broadcaster. And over the next few pods, we're going to be talking to the famous, the infamous, and the fabulous. You're going to love this content, folks. You're going to want to comment, review, like. And anything less than a 5-star review, I'll consider a hate crime. But enough of me. Here's some more of me, with a cool guest. Welcome to Colin in Conversation. My guest today is guitarist extraordinaire, might be fair. Bit of a legend in my book. Aynsley Lister, how you doing?
I'm all right, Colin. Nice to be with you.
Because this is a new podcast. So I've interviewed you a number of times, haven't I? Probably 3 or 4 times over the years.
Yeah. It's a few times. Yeah, we've known each other. I think we go back. I mean, we probably go back at least 15 years, I reckon.
Well, Tower Sessions was the album you were pushing when I spoke to you first, and
Yeah.
I mean that's got to be 50. I know I had 3 children, but she was very little. We've got
Yeah.
to
No,
be going back 14 years or something.
yeah. No. So Tower Sessions came out in 2010. So it's 15 years.
Wow. Lots
Yeah.
happened since then, matey, hasn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't seem that long ago though. It's gone so
Well,
quick.
looking at you on the webcam, you've not aged a day, man. Like I've got crow's feet and shit, and you're sat there with the same youthful look you had all them years ago.
No, I mean, if you saw me in real life, yeah. I mean, there's probably some kind of a filter on here, which I've not put on, but I don't
Well,
really look like this.
so guitarist, professional musician, long time now. You're a veteran now, aren't you? When I met you, you were you were sort of youthful and up and coming.
Yeah, I'm still youthful and up and coming, really. I mean, the thing is, I started, okay, so I started playing gigs, like fronting my own band in like the mid 90s, sort of 94, 95. I was
Yeah.
going to jam sessions when I was in my teens.
Well, there's YouTube footage of you doing the running horse,
Yeah,
and you were young then. Like,
yeah. I mean, my dad used to drive me up to Nottingham I think it was like every Tuesday or Wednesday, and there was a really like vibrant scene for sort of blues open mic nights and that sort of stuff. And I just got to know loads of the regulars there, and I
yeah,
became a regular. I say my dad used to drive me up there from Leicester, which is where we live, literally every week. And from that, I kind of put my first band together. And I was going out doing gigs just for fun, really. I never saw it as a career. I just like it's just something I really love doing. And then in '98, I was 22 in '98, I got offered a record deal to do it, like full
yeah,
time and touring around the world and everything. And it was it was a big risk because it's like, it's a step into the unknown, isn't it? You just don't
yeah, of
know. And
course.
the whole thing of, I suppose even back then, if a whisper of a record deal, as soon as people say, "Oh, you've got a record deal," they think you've made it, or you think you've made it. But that's just to start, really. And a record deal, sort of back in those days, was very different to how it is now. And it gave me a career. It got me started. It got me established.
What was
And
that first advance, Ainsley? Was there an advance?
there wasn't. No,
No.
it was basically. I mean, the first that deal. It was a 3 album deal.
Right.
And the first album, basically, obviously the record company, they covered the cost of us being in the studio. They
Yeah.
gave us tour support to go on tour. So they covered all that sort of costing side of stuff.
Yeah.
Even, when you hear about these like million, £2 million advances,
Yeah.
all it is, it's like a bank loan, really.
Yeah. It's going
Because
to cost you in the long run.
yeah, all the money that they put up front, all the money they invest in you as a record label, they want back with interest.
Yeah.
And so if you've got, you know, a 25 quid advance, you've got to pay 25 quid plus
Yeah.
interest back. If you've got 2.5 million, you've got to pay back 4.5 million. It's like
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. It's a bit of an illusion with it. Like a lot of musicians are not that clued up with it, and I wasn't back in the day. I didn't really understand it. So it was just a chance to basically
Yeah.
play music for a living, and it worked really well. Like I say, it gave me a living. It helped me get established. But I'd say those first 10 years of doing it professionally, touring from like '98 to 2008, Uh, I managed to pay my rent, my mortgage or whatever. I managed
Yeah.
to get by, but I certainly wasn't driving around in a Porsche.
No,
Uh,
no. But you were making a living,
but
and
I was making a living, and that really, especially in this day and age, really, if you can make a living in whatever capacity playing music, basically, you don't have to have a day job to
yeah,
get by. That to me is successful in
yeah,
whatever, some people see successful as, having £1 million, but I see success as doing something you absolutely love doing and not having to have a day job. So for
yeah.
me, although I wasn't rolling in money, um, it meant I could do what I love. And
I'd do the same if I could do stand-up gigs 6 nights a week
yeah.
and keep the wolves from the door, and you know what I mean. Yeah. We don't want much, do we? Comfort is what we all want, really. I think, innit? It's not rich and wealthy, and because who wants the hassle that goes with it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone's different. I mean, so I've never been driven by money, and I've never been driven by, wanting to be famous or anything like that. The only thing that drives me is I love music, and even if I didn't do it for a living, I would still find enough time in a day to pick up a guitar for
Yeah,
even if I had a day job, I would still pick up a guitar for at
yeah.
least an hour a day, just because I love doing it. The fact I can make a living out of it, and I have done for all these years, is, I feel really lucky. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not been an easy ride. It's been
Yeah,
hard work, and there have been challenges,
yeah,
and there's been obstacles to overcome, and there's been times when, you do question it. You do think, oh God, can I keep doing this? Or, what,
yeah.
like for instance, like, obviously when in 2020, when everything closed down with COVID, it was like, oh, right, what do we do now?
What
Because,
else? Yeah, I
you
can't.
know,
I don't do anything else.
nobody had, obviously the whole world closed down in it, but, no, especially being in the music industry, that was really, really tough. I mean, everyone had their own version of, struggles through that, but
Yeah.
certainly being a full-time musician.
I mean, let's talk about that since it's
Yeah.
it's come up now. You know, like it's one of the things I wanted to talk about. You
Yeah.
know, there was no furlough for musicians, comedians. You know, like, you know, how did you get through? How did you manage? You know what I mean? How did you make it? Because I mean, those that don't know you know that your partner Steph's very, 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 very good at what she does, and I imagine she made sure you were all right. But
Well, the thing is that it was the two of us, isn't it? Because basically our household, our
she is
family
your
is
management company.
is 100% funded by music. So
Yep,
no music basically meant not just me losing my income,
yep,
but my wife, and, we've got three kids between us. So
yeah,
it's like, wow, what do we do? Now, I mean, the way we dealt with it is we'd had I think when it was when I was 40. So that was 8.5 years ago. When I was
wow,
40,
man.
I ended up with pneumonia. I got really ill,
Yeah,
and I was basically, um, I ended up in hospital for like a week and a half on a
yeah,
drip. I was really ill, and so as a result of that, I had to cancel tours. And, anyone that's ever had pneumonia or knows somebody that has it, it's not like just a bad cold. It takes you months
yeah,
and months to get over it. I mean, it took me about 4 or 5 months before I actually felt like, I wasn't out of breath and that sort of thing. So as a result of that, I had to cancel tours, but nothing like that had ever happened. So then, because of that, and that, like I said, it was way before COVID. Um, I kind of realized, I'm like, right, we need to make sure we've got at least 4 to 6 months capital in the
yeah,
bank, just in case for that
yeah,
rainy day, if this ever happens again. I mean, we managed at the time, but it was kind of,
yeah,
it was a bit shaky at points. So when COVID kicked in, we were all right to start with.
yeah.
We sort of managed, but then 3 or 4 months into it,
6 months, 8 months, 10 months.
yeah, you know what? I just got so bored,
Yeah. Did
and
you do some online teaching and that kind of stuff, or
yeah, I did, because I mean I've got a bit of a. I mean, I've been sort of running workshops. I mean, we do it together, me and Steph. We've run guitar workshops, residential ones, for about the last 10, 12
yeah,
years. So I've got like a good network of, students and that I could kind of tap and say, look, online guitar tuition. So I actually started using Zoom,
Yeah.
which, in fact, today when I'm logging on to do this thing with you, it's first, the last time I actually used Zoom was to do a guitar lesson in 2020,
Yeah.
which is why I couldn't remember how to
Yeah.
get on. But yeah, so I started teaching, and I ended up, I think, throughout the summer, from sort of like July to whatever it was, October, I was teaching full on for about 3 days a week.
Well, I would imagine some people thought it's lockdown. I'll learn a new skill.
Well, this is exactly what happened. And I think the guitar industry, a lot of the guitar shops, they were doing so much business for
Yeah.
people that have, like couldn't go to work, they're on furlough, they've got 80% of their income. So I think, well, what am I going I'll buy a guitar
Yeah.
and I'll learn how to play it. So so I did, it kept so doing the online guitar lessons, it kept me busy.
Yeah.
Brought in a chunk of money every month, which was quite nice. But other than that, I mean, I've got friends that got really creative in that period, but I just felt completely opposite. I didn't feel
Yeah.
inspired. I didn't even want to pick up a guitar or write a song. I just felt fed up, and I think a lot of people did.
Well, every day was the same. It's the
Yeah,
what that does that creative flair require every day to be that little bit different, I guess, isn't it?
yeah, and I
I
think
suppose.
one of the things that inspires me is actually going out and playing music, but also playing music with other human beings.
Yeah.
There's been
Yeah.
sat at home, not being able to go anywhere, just sat playing to a drum machine or to your computer.
Yeah.
A bit, it's a bit
What
crap.
about, did it take its toll on you and Steph and the kids? Did you all survive unscathed or, you
Yeah,
know?
we were all right. Yeah, I mean, we were fine. We just managed through it,
Yeah.
and just tried to keep busy. And then obviously when things started to open up, thank God, I went back out on the road as soon as I could. I mean, I think in that first year, 2020, I think it was around October time, there was a lift of the
Yeah.
restrictions for a while. I actually managed to do a German tour, and we were the only band
Yeah.
that did it on the
Yeah.
circuit. No one else would do it. But this tour had been booked. It had been booked for like, the whole year.
Yeah.
And all bands would say, right, we cancel it. We're just cancelling everything. But I didn't cancel it. I just left it. And I kept looking at it and like still looking forward to it, even though I thought it's
Yeah.
probably not going to happen. But then the promoters were, 2 or 3 months before were saying, well, look, if you're still happy to go ahead with it, we can do it at a reduced capacity. Everyone will have to, distance and all that stuff. Um, and we can't pay you what we'd normally pay you because it's half the amount of people or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're still happy to venture out here, we're happy to go ahead with the gig. So we actually did a 10-day German tour, which um just really got everyone's spirits up again. Because I was
Yeah.
like by that point, 6 months into it,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never struggled with sort of mental health or depression or anything, but I think I did actually start to sink into something that, yeah,
Yeah.
well, and a lot of, I know I'm not the only person, a lot of people went through their own version of it, but I
Yeah, of
think
course.
the most fed up I've ever felt, so to do a tour, even though it was, 75 people a night, they're all standing 2 meters apart, I was quite
I bet
happy.
that was bizarre though, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was really bizarre,
Yeah.
really
Because
bizarre.
you probably do almost as many nights in Europe a year, I would have thought, don't you, to what you do in the UK, like Benelux,
I,
Switzerland.
I do a lot more outside the UK than I do in the UK. The
Yeah.
UK, I probably do like maximum 20, 25 shows a year in the UK. The
Yeah.
rest is all that side,
Because they love you out there. They can't get enough of Ainsley, can they?
apparently. So,
Where's the best place to play? Because as a comedian, I love playing Holland. I've done Benelux, I've done Belgium, Luxembourg, Holland,
yeah.
and in Holland they treat you good. You know what I mean? Like in Holland, you normally get fed, you normally get looked after. You do a good. We're lucky if we get a Coke in England.
Yeah, I mean, it is a totally different thing. I mean, the hospitality out in, like you say, in Holland, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, it's just, they can't do enough for you. Whereas the UK, yeah, could I have a Pepsi Max, please? Yeah, £3.50.
Yeah,
You know, like they would, when you arrive at a venue on the continent, you get greeted really, really nice. The first thing they ask is, would you like anything to drink? Do you want a coffee? Do you want to sit down and have coffee and cake? Here's your dressing room. Here's this fridge full of like wine, beer,
yeah,
vodka. with anything, and it's all complimentary. You know,
Yeah,
they're not going to send you a bill for it at the end of the night. So it's
yeah. And
ridiculous.
so where's your favourite place to go and play then, Ainsley? Where have you
I
got a
think
favourite country?
I'd say probably Germany and Switzerland. Yeah,
Right.
Germany and Switzerland are probably the two countries where, I mean, I'd say Germany's the biggest market I do because the label I signed in 1998 was German.
Yeah,
So it all kind of just worked out that, you know, I ended up building up a really good audience in Germany pretty soon on. So
yeah. They're all right, the Germans, aren't they? They like their beer.
yeah, they're all right. Yeah, they're not too bad. Yeah.
So, with lockdown, you survived it,
Yeah,
just
got through
about,
it. Got through it. Got through it. Yeah.
and relationship intact.
Yeah.
I moved in with a woman, Ainsley, for lockdown. We wouldn't have moved in together, but it was one of them. I was living in Holland at the time,
Right.
and it was moving together, or we weren't going to see each other for God knows how long.
Right.
That was pretty tough, moving in with a new partner for lockdown.
And did it? Are you still
Yeah,
together?
we're still together now. Yeah, we're still
Oh
together
wow.
now. So it
Okay.
worked out all right. But I did look at her a few times during lockdown and think, fuck me, I wish I was dead.
Does she listen to your podcast, by the way?
She might do. Listen, that's a joke from a set that she wrote a little bit of that joke.
Oh,
So
right.
I've had
Okay.
permission to use that more or less.
Right. Okay. Fair dues.
Um, what was I going to say? So 98, you signed with a German label,
Yeah.
and then it went mental. Was it
Yeah.
great?
I was doing like 250 shows a year. I was going
Yeah.
everywhere. I literally just didn't stop. But
It's the
I,
Jimmy Carr of blues guitar.
but the thing is, I was 22, and when you're
Yeah.
22 or 20, whatever, when you're in your 20s, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And you can get through it because you're only 20.
Yeah.
Like I'm a bit older than that now, so I've slowed down a bit, and I can slow down because I've obviously, you know, spent all these years slogging my guts out and you know, driving up and down the M1 too many times. I can kind of pick and choose a bit more now.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you go by yourself then? Tower Sessions was, you didn't do that on your own, did you? Or was that on your own?
No, so okay, right, 1998 to 2008, I was with Roof Records,
Yeah,
which is
that's right. Yeah.
the German one. 2008 to 2012, I signed to a UK label called Manhattan Records, and
Oh,
I
of
did
course. Yeah.
two albums. One was called Equilibrium, and the other one was Tower Sessions.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And then, obviously, the industry is always changed, you know,
Yeah.
over time. And you know, in 2012, it's very different to how it was when I first signed in '98. So, and me and Steph, we'd been together for, I think, 4 years by this point. So she said, "Oh well, you know, why don't we set up our own label?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Listen, darling, you can't do that sort of. People don't do that
Yeah.
successfully, and you know, and get out the other side." And she's like, "Well," and she just had a really good kind of angle on it. She's like, "Well, every question that I asked her, she had an answer for." And her thing was, "Well, what's the worst that can happen if it doesn't work out? You can go and find another label. You know, you're established now, so you're not going to
Yeah.
struggle to get another deal with someone." And she said, "But look, you know, it's all different now. There are people taking it in house." And I said, "Well, I don't understand how it works with all the licensing, all that stuff." She said, "Don't worry about that." She says, "That's my side of things."
And
And
she was doing another job at the time, wasn't she, as well?
yeah, yeah, she was working a full-time job and managing me, booking my gigs, and she set up our label, Straight Talking Records. And she just bought some books and just did a load of research and just basically figured out how to do it. And we released our first album on it called Home in 2013. And there was a lot of skeptics out there, especially some of the older fans.
It's still my favourite album of yours, Home.
Yeah, do you like it? Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah.
It's all right, isn't it?
I think no, people, you don't have to be that modest, do you? Like,
Yeah.
for me, going back to Equilibrium and Tower Sessions, vocally, you sounded like a man on Home, I thought.
Okay.
Whereas before then, you were still, I don't know, I don't want to say your bollocks had dropped, that's not what I mean, but I thought vocally that was such a great album.
Yeah.
Really good album.
Yeah.
That's probably a great place to queue up. We'll play a track off of Home. I haven't decided which one it is yet, but
Okay, cool.
we'll play one there, you know.
Firing line again. They wanna get inside my head, filling the space and need to breathe. Why can't they see? How can they say the things they do? Criticize me and treat me like a fool. Tell me just what it is I need when they don't even know me. 'Cause I can't just seem to wanna put it down. Yeah, still they preach knowing nothing about what makes me tick when only you're the one. Yeah, the only one who knows me inside. Content to leave alone. Talk about me like I'm the very own. They seem to think they got a right to step into my life. 'Cause the voices seem to come from all around. They all seem so intent to bring you down. They say you're the one, yeah, the only one who knows me inside out, inside out, yeah, inside out. The only one. 'Cause the voices seem to come from all around. They all seem so intent to bring you down. They say they really care, but you're the one, the only one we set the label. Well, I say we. There's no we about it. She set the label up. I recorded the album. We released it, and like I say, there was a lot of skeptics out there, especially some of the older fans, especially my previous two record labels. They were kind of like not so much Thomas Ruff, but the label that I'd been with, Manhattan.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well, if you think you can do it, off you go. I'll just kind of wait for the call when I get it. But he never got it, and we took up. It was a bit of a leap of faith, but
Yeah.
because I'd already been going for by this point 14, nearly 15 years.
Yeah.
It's not like we were setting up a record label with a new product. As a product, I was already established because
Yeah.
all the donkey work and groundwork had already been done. So, we yeah, we released that. I did really well, and then in 2016 did another one. Um, and then we released the third one a couple of years ago, sort of 2022.
Yeah.
I'm not the most prolific, like
No.
I'm not like a Joe Bonamassa where every 9 months there's a new product because I write all my own stuff. I'm 98% original with what I do. I don't. It's very rare I do covers. I've done a couple of covers in my time, but most of my stuff is original. So I don't want to just write stuff that's just that'll do just to put an album out.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna put an album out, I want it to. I write when I'm ready, and although there is some people say there's 3 or 4 years before your album between your albums. But my thing is, I want to keep doing this as long as I can
Yeah.
still do it. So if I'm putting something out every year, you're going to burn out. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to burn out. And I'm not saying Joe or anyone like that has done that, but putting a product out every single year,
Well, and
you're going to run out of it unless you're doing a lot of covers, which he does. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're going to run out of ideas. So I tend to just put stuff out when I'm ready
yeah.
and when I feel like I've got something to say and I've got some, stuff that I'm really happy with. So yeah, so far between 2013 and now we've released 3 albums and and there is going to be another one soon.
Is there? Are you working on it or thinking
Yeah,
about
I
it?
mean,
Or
so the next thing is actually going to be live because as we've established, Tower Sessions, which was live in session
yeah.
15 years ago.
So you're going to do a live album next?
Yeah, I mean, we actually recorded the entire tour last autumn in Germany.
Oh right. Yeah.
So I've basically got to sift through like I think there's 32 live gigs. I've got to sift through them and listen through and find out which is the good stuff and which is the shite. And
Nice.
we get rid of the stuff that doesn't make the cut. So there'll be a live album hopefully this year, and I'm just getting into a writing phase now. So once the live
Okay.
album's out, then I'll be cracking on with writing an original one, another studio one.
Because music's a bit different now, isn't it? When I met you 15 years ago,
Mm.
download wasn't such a thing, was it? Or it was, but it was all illegal and free.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean bizarrely, although in terms of physical product, when we're at gigs, vinyl over the last few years, vinyl has really like seems to be rising in.
Really?
We still, believe it or not, I mean, if you buy a new car, not a new vehicle now, it hasn't got a CD player, has it? But we still
No.
sell CDs at gigs. People still buy them because I think a lot of the people that come to my gigs tend to be of my age or older, and they've still got CD players, or they've got older cars, or they still want to buy a physical product.
Okay.
So we do really well with downloads, but also physical product for me, bizarrely, still does all right.
How strange.
So yeah, I'm not complaining.
Merchandise, t-shirts, that kind of thing. Still
Yeah,
doing all right.
I mean, on a gig, I mean, we do a shed load of merchandise on gigs. We got some really cool t-shirts. We got hoodies and all sorts,
Yeah.
and we sell loads of it. Um,
Nice.
so yeah,
So
um,
merch is not dead.
no, no, not
Because
at all.
that was a discussion we had a long time ago. The bands that were doing slightly better were the bands that had that merch table and were prepared to make stuff up. And
Yeah,
what I mean, because you only get so much for a gig, don't you? You know what I mean? You only get a fee. Download is how most of the money comes now, isn't it? Really, pretty much. other than your live stuff?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure of the actual percentages. I'm not
I'm
sure.
not gonna.
I don't know.
I don't care
I'm not
about
sure. I do
percentages.
get statements, but I'll be honest with you, I never look at them.
You know,
No,
that's
no,
Steph's job, isn't it?
no. It's not really my area. I'm a little bit kind of I'm kind of just in my own little world, just writing songs, playing songs, doing gigs.
Looking at the paperwork with the
Kind of,
hamster on the wheel
I'm kind of
spinning
just
round in the
yeah,
head.
I kind of just like float through life really.
That's quite a
And
nice place to be, though, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
It's
Yeah,
not too bad. And so
yeah.
after lockdown, how was it? How long after lockdown was it before you were like, oh, I'm back? Do you know what I mean? Was it sort of the next festival season?
So things started to open up, sort of like was it like June, July 21, wasn't it? So we were
Yeah, sort
straight
like
back out
that.
on the road, literally straight away.
Yeah.
But what we noticed initially is that not a lot of people were going out to gigs for two reasons. They were scared of getting ill. There was a lot of scaremongering, wasn't it? A lot of like, oh, you can't go out, you can't be around other
Ticket
people.
selling has been slow. We found, like
Yeah.
in comedy, we found people stopped buying in advance.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the other thing. And then, of course, off the back of all that, just as COVID, people were starting to get confidence. Then, the cost of living like rocketed, didn't it?
Yeah.
So I would say our live touring and gigs probably got back to what it was pre-COVID. What are we now, 25? Probably at the back end of 23. So
Right.
it took a good 18 months, really, of just slogging it out and just thinking it's going to come back, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers when we first went out on the road after COVID, the numbers were really low. And it was, on some gigs, it was awful, not
Yeah.
many people. But, if you've only got 50 or 60 people at your gigs, there are 50 or 60 people that really want to be there, have made the effort. Say we made the effort.
Yeah.
Um, and then turnouts and, and filling venues and the sellouts and all that started coming sort of around sort of like 23 or something. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
And now it's really good now. Yeah, it's back to how it was.
It's
How
back
it
to
should,
how it
how it
was.
should, how it should be. Yeah.
Life is good again.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's good.
I
That's
mean,
good.
I was just happy to get back out on the road,
Yeah.
really. And even though I wasn't, pulling in anywhere near the money I was pre-COVID, I was just happy to be doing it, really.
Away from home.
Yeah, traveling a bit and all that. Yeah.
And it was, yes. So yeah, but how's the because I've really been out of touch with the music scene, really.
Right,
Proper, like I've been off in the world of comedy.
right.
So how's the British scene doing? How's the British? Because back 15 years ago there were a lot of blues festivals. There was quite a lot of opportunity to play.
There still is. There's still. I mean, in the UK, there's loads. There's
Yeah,
loads of little festivals that keep popping up,
yeah,
and there's lots of. I mean, the thing is, when we do festivals in Germany or Switzerland or Austria, they tend to be pretty big. I mean, the last one we
yeah,
did in Holland, we did it. I think it was like last July. We did one in Holland called the Ribs and Blues Festival. There's about 12 to 15,000 people there.
yeah,
It's huge. I mean, we played right after Philip Sayce. I mean, the guy. I don't know if you know Philip Sayce,
yeah.
but he's a force to be reckoned with. We went on after.
Is he Swiss?
No, he's American.
Okay.
I mean, he's great. He's amazing. He's a really nice guy as well. But no, we went on after. But you're talking like 10,000 people, and then other ones that I've done in Switzerland. You lot, into the
Yeah,
thousands. Where the UK, there tends to be a lot of festivals where it's a few hundred people, um, scattered. Sort of sometimes they're sort of out in the country or out in
yeah.
the sticks. There's a couple of the bigger ones that are obviously better known, like Colin and Burnley and that. But
Colin's a great weekend out, man.
yeah,
I
but
like. I
there
love.
are loads of them. There's lots of festivals and stuff. Yeah,
Oh, that's good. You'll be out playing them then.
yeah, some of them. Yeah,
Um, we had a conversation. Do you remember we had a conversation once on the radio where we spent about 8 or 9 minutes of an interview talking about biscuits?
yeah, yeah. I thought we'd try and avoid that this time because I know we.
No, well, no, I wasn't going to talk about. Are you
No,
still partial to a custard cream, though, right, Ainsley?
no, I don't really eat stuff like that.
Do you not?
Not anymore. No, I'm getting old. Got to look after myself.
You're
Can't
not
be.
worried. You're not worried about diabetes, surely?
Well, my dad's diabetic. He's type 2, and
Oh, okay.
I'm 50 next year,
50.
so I
Don't
intend,
look any older, man. I hate that.
yeah, I intend to stay in the best shape I can be
Yeah.
as long as I can.
Yeah.
So things like I never used to, care about, food and nutrition and health and all that because you don't. When you're in your 20s, you don't need to worry
No.
about it, do you? But when you get a
No.
bit older, you start to think about stuff. So, yeah, in my dad's diabetic, so you
Yeah.
know, at some point, I might get it. You never know. But so I tend to like. I might have one biscuit, but I ain't gonna have a whole pack.
And so family life. All right. Since we spoke, you've had a little baby, haven't you? Not a
Well,
little baby anymore.
well, yeah, he's seven,
He's seven or yeah, something like
seven in a
how
few weeks.
how
Yeah,
did you enjoy that? How was that for you?
yeah, it's great actually. Yeah, because I mean, I've got two older ones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my daughter, she's 22
Yeah.
and she's a dairy farmer. She looks after 350 cows every day.
Nice.
My middle lad, he's 19. He's at university in Manchester, and I've got Xander, and he's coming up to 7 in a few weeks. So
Any
yeah,
of them? Any
life's
of
good.
them? Any? None of them planned on following dad into music? No.
Um, Not really. No, I mean
The
they're
younger,
all,
you're not going to make him learn. The younger, you're not going to be like,
no,
you
no.
will learn. You will.
I hate it. I hate it when people do that to their kids. Like, send them for like flute lessons or oboe or
Yeah.
violin and make them practice. Do you know what? I was never told to play the guitar. I did it because I loved it and I wanted to
Yeah.
do it. And, I remember at school there was like, violin club and everyone that used to go used to hate it. So no, I've always said to all my kids, if they want to play an instrument, great, I will support them and guide them and all that, but I would never expect them to do it just because I do it. So
Yeah.
it's got to be their choice.
And who's your favourite guitarist, Ainsley?
Me.
You know what, right? People will
No, not
think you're
really.
joking, but I
No.
believe that.
No, do you know, I can't answer that with, we'd be here until like 6 o'clock tomorrow. There's so many guitarists that I admire, just
Yeah.
like, and not just the blues players, but just anyone. Okay, so two things. Anyone that can play music with a guitar. So I'm not talking about these guitarists that whittle away and it's all about
Yeah.
technical prowess. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
What I'm into is someone who can move me. If you
Yeah.
can just do a couple of notes on a guitar or play a nice melody or tune and get my attention, then that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be a super fast technician. And I think also with like social media and like Instagram and all that and YouTube, it's all about getting people's attention that first couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And with guitarists, there's a lot of them out there that it's all about, look how clever I am kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, if you're into that thing, I'm just not into that. I mean, some people really like that kind of playing. Great. I mean, I went to see Toto on Wednesday in Wembley
Right.
uh,
Okay.
with the rest of the guys in the band, actually. And do you know what? Steve Lukather, he's an absolutely incredible guitar player because not in, I mean, he can shred with the best of them. I mean, he can
Yeah.
really plays if he wants to, but he doesn't on a gig. He plays
Yeah.
so melodically and so, with so much feeling. It's just, he's an incredible guitar player,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of guitarist I like. Someone who
That.
can just
Yeah.
move, So
That's how I feel about Nat Martin. Do you know Nat?
no, no, I'm not
That's
familiar.
how I feel about Nat Martin. He's just got such a beautiful touch.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like my favourite guitarist has always been Stevie Ray by a country mile. You know
right.
what I mean? But he's a good example of a guitarist that didn't read music, played for feel. Um, but you can't pick one then, no, apart from yourself.
No, not really. No, just like I'm not gonna say anyone in particular, just
No,
because you know
don't
they
want to
could be a
upset him. You
blues
don't know you
player. They
might
might be
meet next week, do you?
they might be a blues player, they might be a
Yeah,
rock player, it might be someone who's playing something classical or something. It's just
yeah,
like if something grabs me, it's just for me, it's not necessarily about who my favorite guitarist is. It's just someone who can just create something musical that just stops you in your tracks. That
yeah,
to me is great.
yeah,
And someone who can kind of go all that, it just leaves me so cold. It just doesn't
yeah.
get. I'm just like, yeah, next.
So live album coming soon.
Yeah.
Is um any plans on retiring or are you gonna die with an axe in your hand?
Are you having a laugh? I'm not retiring. I'm going to keep going until I drop. I am going to keep going until I drop. I mean, if Mick Jagger can still walk on stage and jig about like he does in what is, I mean, quite frankly, bizarre for the age he is.
Yeah.
But if he can still go on stage and move like he does, I'm never going to be moving like that.
No. Well, I mean,
Not really my thing, but
Mick Jagger probably represents the soberest one of the group,
yeah,
really,
I
and
think
the rest don't look too bad, and they took more drugs than we could ever afford.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, no, I mean, you get guys. I mean, like BB King was still touring into well into his 80s.
I saw
Um,
BB King; he was 70 odd when I saw
yeah,
him at Montreux.
right. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think I saw him when he was 82, and it was one of his many farewell tours, and it was incredible. It's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible, you know.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
saw the
really
Bonzos actually. They were really good. I saw the Bonzo, do you know Doodah Dog Band?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I saw them in, oh, I don't know, it was about 15 years ago. But A.D. Edmondson and Phil Jupitus were with them as the two that had died,
All right.
And just absolutely fabulous, jumping around stage like they were still 18, all well into their 70s.
Yeah. I mean, I want to try. I want to try and keep that. I mean, it's like any. I mean, as you start to get older, everyone does. You try and slow down time, don't you?
Yeah.
But I want to stay as youthful as I can and stay in as good a shape as I can. So as long as I can still physically go out and gig
Yeah.
and stand on a stage and perform to a decent level, I'll still do it. If I got to a stage where I felt like I couldn't sing anymore or my hands not moving and it was just a bit of a pale, watered down version, I'd probably stop because I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'd like
I
to
mean,
think,
how is that after sort of 50 years of shredding the guitar every day for a living? How are the hands and stuff?
great.
Really? Yeah. There's
Yeah,
no.
it's like I've never not done it. So I mean, the hardest time, to be honest, was with going back to the COVID thing we were talking
Yeah.
about. Not playing live on stage. When you just sit at home on a sofa playing a guitar, you do it totally differently. You don't put the same effort in. So when I first went out, yeah, my hands were like killing me because I wasn't used to doing a gig, but it didn't take long to build it back up. So yeah,
People want to find out more about you. What can they do? Where can they look?
they can go on my website, which is ainsleyllister.co.uk. They can find me on all the usual social platforms. Well, not all of them. Instagram and Facebook are the two I use, actually.
Yeah.
I'm all over Spotify. Put my name into
Yeah.
Spotify. It comes with most of
Yeah.
my.
And we'll play a few tracks. We're going to play a couple of tracks off your album that you're vlogging at the moment, which is,
Along for the ride.
so if you like that, you have a listen to that as well. The final question I ask all my guests, Ainsley, is my favourite food is sandwiches, right? I mean,
Hang on. Your favorite food is sandwiches.
sandwiches. Yeah, right.
Isn't
My
that a bit,
favourite food is
isn't that a bit,
sandwiches.
isn't that a bit vague?
Well, my favourite sandwich is a very different question, right? But my favourite food is sandwiches, right? Generally, I love sandwiches. I can't help that, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
So I'm giving Aynsley Lister two bits of bread, and I'm asking him to put whatever he would put in that sandwich. What is Aynsley Lister's perfect sandwich filling?
Right then. Probably gonna have some chicken in it.
Okay.
Uh, bit of chorizo or chorizo, however you say it. Um, bit of cheese and a bit of
Ooh,
mayo,
nice.
or just anything with chicken in it. Really, I'm definitely a carnivore. I need to have meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't be a veggie. No way.
You couldn't tour in Germany, man, and
No,
Northern
no.
Europe. They're
When
not great for
when you
vegetarians.
when you tour in Germany, it's like it's loads of meat and loads of potatoes. So there's loads
Yeah.
of chicken or it's quite stodgy, heavy meal. So
Yeah.
if you're a veggie, I've toured with a couple of veggie guys in the band, and it's a nightmare. It's, they just laugh at you. No, we cannot do this. We have to give us the meat. So yeah,
Vegetarian musicians, what the world coming to?
yeah. So yeah, yeah, a meaty sandwich of
A
some.
meaty sandwich with some cheese, bit of mayo.
Yeah.
Sounds all right to me. Ainsley Lister, thank you very much.
Cheers, Colin. Nice one.
wake up every day, you don't know how it's gonna go. Do our best to hold it together, no matter what, we brave whatever. Come to think about it, we got no control. Getting older, it's one thing that plays on my mind. You never know how it plays out, and we're just along for the ride, for the ride. What we gather, we love, how we fall and get up, gotta hold on, no good wasting time. Don't ever wish it away, and we're just along for the ride. Knows what'll be tomorrow, who'll be here, no one really knows. 'Cause we're not forever, don't let things pass you by. Moments that turn into memories, after the hurt so bad it's something you hold on to the end of time. So forget about all the wrong you want to right. Live like you're just here today, and we're just along for the ride, for the ride. What we gather, we love, how we fall and get up, gotta hold on, no good wasting time. When it's never enough, we gotta hold on, no reruns. If there was a book of life, we can turn the page ahead of time, can decide our fate. Oh no, we're just along for the ride.
Thank you for choosing my podcast from the plethora of podcasts available. Oh yeah, if you want to find out more or hire me or, just say hello, you can find me on all social medias at Comic Colin 78. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the others. Comic Colin 78. That's Comic Colin 78.
The Colin in Conversation podcast was presented by Colin Etches and edited and produced by Neil Long at neillong.com.